I didn't start going to the gym because I just wanted to enjoy myself or because I wanted to pick up a new hobby. I started going to the gym because I was in so much pain that I had no choice but to make some sort of change. And we can go back to me being 14, 15 years old. And at this time, this is when I was the most insecure version of myself. Depressed, sad, feeling pretty much unsafe in my own skin. And I dealt with these feelings for a long time. I grew up without my dad, so I had a lot of anger built up inside already. And I would lash out when I was younger. Just random flare-ups of anger, punching people, stabbing other kids. All of this at a really early age, but I calmed down a bit. And when that anger was gone, it was replaced with a feeling of worthlessness, of depression, of self-hate. And it compounded everywhere that I went, no matter who it was, parents, teachers, family, friends. They always made some sort of comment, some sort of quote unquote joke on the one thing that I hated the most. And that was the skin that I was in, the body that I was in. And outside looking in, it may not seem like that big of a deal or like something that's just easy to brush off. And sure, you can say that. You can say Isaiah's not that big of a deal. Constant ridicule, constant put downs, having no confidence, not being able to face yourself in the mirror, not being able to be comfortable walking around in regular clothes, feeling so ashamed of yourself that you have to wear hoodies in the summertime just so you didn't have to deal with the remarks that everybody else would make about you. Sure, you could say it wasn't a big deal, but that's just outside looking in. But inside looking out, it was a lot different. Inside looking out, it felt like everywhere that I went, no matter who it was, I couldn't escape it. I was already fighting these thoughts in my head. I was already fighting the battle of self-hatred for so long. And it's almost like it was an unescapable feeling. And I experienced this for years. And obviously, life is stressful as it is. There's a lot of things that you have to deal with. There's a lot of things that you're gonna have to handle. And especially as a man, I didn't realize that I could express these emotions. I was scared. I was terrified of letting people know how exactly I felt about myself. So I did what most men do. Stuffed it away, put a mask on, laughed at the jokes, acted like someone that I truly wasn't on the inside. I had to compensate for my lack of security in myself with this overly exaggerated sense of fake confidence so that people could maybe stop messing with me. So people would maybe respect me a little bit more because I didn't respect myself at all. But when the day ended and no one else was around, I was faced with the same person in the mirror, that same feeling of hatred, that same feeling of shame, of worthlessness, of insecurity. And like I said, this went on for a long time. Fast forward, I start going to the gym and obviously start making a bit of progress. But before this, I was working out at home. I would lock my door, do push-ups in secret, bodyweight workouts, watch Chris Heria, Bully Juice, try to figure out how to change this feeling that I had inside, changed the body that I was so ashamed of living in for so long, and finally ended up going to a gym. Went to a YMCA, and I felt like I had something for the first time in my life. I felt like I was able to achieve something that I could actually be proud of, and most importantly, something that no one could take away from me. And so, before I knew it, there was a love or a drive that I never felt before, and I was obsessed with it. I was obsessed with going to the gym. I started to see progress in the mirror, started to feel more confident about myself. And before I knew it, I was this insecure kid that felt ashamed of himself in every single area, to no longer having to wear a mask, to no longer having to feel insecure about himself. And I was able to walk around, wear normal clothes for once. I was able to walk around and not feel the need to hide my body anymore. And everything was great. But that's not the full story. You see, my problem was I thought that the physique would change everything. I thought if I just got muscle, everything would be better. I would love myself. I would be happy with who I was. And for a point in time, that was the truth. But before I knew it, I was right back in the same spot that I was those years ago. But this time, it wasn't because of comments that other people were making. It wasn't because of me being skinny and being ashamed of my body. Fast forward, I'm in college. I have the physique that I've always wanted. I'm making progress in the gym, but I made one crucial mistake, and that was allowing my mindset, my self-development as a whole go out the window. And I know I skipped a bit ahead in this timeline of my life, but in those moments to where I was being bullied, made fun of, poked at, picked on, hated myself, I was depressed and ultimately ended up becoming suicidal because of those feelings that I felt, because of the hatred that I felt, because of the situations that I was in my life. And all of these negative emotions were kind of amplified, and I put everything in this echo chamber and allowed all the negativity to compound over and over and coped in unhealthy ways, and ended up spiraling down to the point to where I didn't want to be here anymore. And the reason why I say that is because everything comes back full circle. You see, when I went to college, like I said, I was in shape. I had the dream physique that I always wanted. I was making progress in the gym, but I started to lose my direction in my life because things were starting to get serious. I wasn't happy with the path that I was on. I wasn't happy with the habits that I developed. I wasn't happy with myself because I was doing drugs, I was going to parties. Like I said, I didn't know where I was going in my life, and sure, I was in good shape. Sure, I had the physique that I always wished for, but it didn't matter. And fast forward, more parties, more drugs, destroyed relationships, spiraling down mentally, being diagnosed with derealization, depersonalization disorder, taking antipsychotics, taking all of these different things that I shouldn't have been taking psychedelics, drinking, all this stuff that college kids do that's supposedly supposed to be normal. But like I said, before I knew it, I faced myself in the mirror and I felt the exact same way that 14-year-old me felt when he looked. But this time, it cut deeper because I had the thing that I once wished for so long. I had the thing that I thought would fix me for so long. Yet, I felt the exact same way. And because of this, other than going about it the healthy way, I started to cope more. Started to allow myself to slip more in my classes, do more drugs, listen to more negative music, watched more depressive content, you name it. I was doing all this bad stuff. And I was brought back into the exact same spot that I was in beforehand. And before I knew it, I was driving to college, great physique, pretty good looking guy. Had all of the stuff that I thought would fix me. But I thought about driving off the road more times than I can count on my hands. I was ashamed of the man that I was becoming because I knew that I was going down the path to becoming someone that I promised myself I would never be. I was going down a path that I always told myself I would never go down. And I was ashamed of the man that I was becoming. And other than doing the smart thing and waking myself up, I coped and made things worse and worse and worse, and continued down this bad path, continued with these bad behaviors that got me in the same spot. And it did nothing but remove all of the good that I had going for me. I was kicked out of school. I hit rock bottom. I destroyed pretty much most of my family relationships at the time. And in that moment is when I realized, just having a decent physique, having, confidence in yourself physically or on the outside doesn't really matter. Feeling this way on the outside or having people perceive you as a stronger, more confident version of yourself doesn't truly matter if at the end of the day you look at yourself in the mirror and you're ashamed of the man that you are. When you look at yourself in the mirror and you ask yourself, where did I go wrong? Nothing else is going to matter outside of that, at least from the perspective of other people's opinions or whatever it is that you may have achieved. And I know I'm kind of jumping the timeline a lot in this video, but the biggest thing that I want you guys to take away from this is that the physique isn't going to mean anything if you're still operating like the same loser that you were beforehand. The physique is just a cherry on top. The gym is just a stepping stone, a tool to use to make progress in other areas. But if you don't utilize it, you're just going to be left being a big loser like I was.